Hi, Nicole. I'm here with Nicole Bijlsma. How are you doing, Nicole?
Yeah, really well, thank you.
Thank you so much for your phenomenal chapter in the textbook. When I was putting it together and I was looking at a table of contents and trying to work out what I wanted to include, environmental medicine has to be included, and you're absolutely without doubt the expert. So what a privilege to have your content.
Thank you.
Tell us, how did naturopathy find you originally?
I was obsessed with cancer and trying to figure out the cause of cancer when I was in year 10 and 11 and 12. A few of my parents' friends were diagnosed with cancer, and I felt that there's always a reason why people are sick. So that led me into Bernard Jensen's work on gut work and colonic irrigation, and I did work in a colonic irrigation clinic for some time as a naturopath and acupuncturist, but during that time realised that many of my patients with asthma, allergies, and especially chronic fatigue syndrome would be talking about the mould or meter panel, electromagnetic fields. And then, of course, when my husband and I moved into our home, I had 10 miscarriages and didn't sleep well and realised we were sleeping in a meter panel. So the last 2 decades I've been researching the impact of the environment on human health, and in particular health hazards in the home and their impact on health. And it's really quite great to see so many more journals coming on board on environmental medicine and far more articles in electromagnetic fields and mould and toxicants and their impact on almost every chronic illness.
What have you seen, how it's changed and how it's evolved in the last 2 decades? How have you noticed it sort of all unravel?
Well, what I thought was a problem is a problem, but there's far much more evidence to justify those concerns. So the number of journals in environmental medicine that have come to the fore in the PubMed and the search engines has increased significantly, and the number of articles on all of those topics I just mentioned has just exploded in the scientific literature. So that's, it just validated what I wrote in my book, Healthy Home, Healthy for Family in 2012, and keeps getting updated with new versions. But in the last 2 decades, I've developed the Advanced Diploma of Building Biology and now a registered training organisation. So I provide nationally accredited training in mould testing, electromagnetic field testing, chemicals in the home, and train people to have really rewarding and financially rewarding careers that are enhancing the health of the community.
That's phenomenal. And so where can people find out more information about the courses that you do? Because obviously naturopaths out there, I think everyone should probably do your qualification, whether or not they formally practice as a building biologist or if they just use it to inform them. I mean, where can they find out more information?
Well, the book Healthy Home, Healthy Family was really developed with checklists to firstly educate the clinician, like natural therapists, and secondly to educate the client, because to do a proper environmental exposure history takes 90 minutes according to the research that Professor Mark Cohen and I published a couple of years ago. And that was a really important paper on looking at the challenges that clinicians have when it comes to environmental medicine and diagnosis, because they're not trained to take an exposure history, so they don't ask the right questions, they never get to the root cause of many of these patients' illnesses. The college website is aces.edu.au, the Australian College of Environmental Studies. I'm shortly to launch a new website, Healthy Home, myhealthyhome.co, and that will be a short course for clinicians and for the public to educate them about the hazards in the home and really simple tips on how they can reduce their exposure and get rid of a lot of the myths that people have about electromagnetic fields and buying all these plug-ins that don't work, and there's a lot of misinformation, so I really want to set the record straight on that.
Oh, fantastic. How wonderful. That's so needed. But you're doing your PhD at the moment, aren't you? You're nearly through that?
I am, thank God. You would know.
And tell us a bit about your research and what you found.
So the first paper that I published 4 years ago was looking at the impact of environmental chemicals on human health and which chronic illnesses they were correlated with, and pretty much most illnesses, pesticides came up time and time again with most of the chronic illnesses, neurodevelopmental disorders, neurodegenerative disorders, and anti-human. That's a problem. The next research that I published was interviewing the top 17 environmental doctors in Australia and New Zealand to see how they deal with toxicant load in their patients, and that was really controversial and very useful. And that, as I said, came out with the most important clinical tool clinicians have is an environmental exposure history, and it takes 90 minutes to do it properly. And it's very important that they do that, but of course no one trains them to do that adequately. I'm currently analysing the data for a randomised control trial looking at the impact of a baby monitor or radio frequencies on brain and sleep function, and the data is quite interesting, and that's going to be a bit of a mover and shaker when that gets published by the end of this year, on its impact on sleep especially. So that was a randomised controlled trial, crossover study, double blind, so it will be significant in terms of the data, and that hopefully will be published by the end of the year, and then the dissertation will be written hopefully March next year. I'm finished. Thank God.
Congrats. Huge congrats. Well, look, I mean, what you've contributed to the profession with your body of research now and over the last few decades and everything is nothing short of amazing. I mean, you've completely changed environmental medicine in the country, so, and internationally, I'm sure, as well. It's phenomenal, and I love seeing you speak, and I love your chapter, and I'm so grateful that we could include it. So thank you so much, and I really strongly urge people that are watching this to look at doing your diploma, if not the certificate course when it comes out, because if more of us know about all this, God, we can really help save the planet.
Thank you so much for supporting the work.
Thank you.